Okay, so let's talk about The Color Purple. I finally saw the movie. And I definitely have some opinions about it, so we're going to talk about it right now. So I went yesterday to see The Color Purple. I have been anticipating this movie since it came out. I did not want to go on Christmas Day just because, you know, in this day and age with these crowds and these mass pew-pewers, I try to stay away from those crowds. So anyhow, we got up yesterday and we headed over to iPic. First of all, before we even talk about the movie, if you are not watching a movie at iPic, where are you watching the movie? Okay, iPic is an experience, okay? So we went over to iPic. They give you blankets, you order your food, you can get a pillow. I'm telling you, it's an experience. So if you haven't gone to iPic, definitely check iPic out. I know this video is not sponsored by iPic, but I'm just telling you, if you want to watch a movie in style, make your date take you to iPic. So anyhow, we headed over to iPic to see The Color Purple. Now, I've been watching these reviews online. Everyone has been pretty much bashing the film. First of all, one of the most baffling critiques that I've heard about the movie is people saying that they didn't know it was a musical. I'm worried. I'm concerned about the world that we live in because how did you not know it was a musical, sis? Like, huh? So anyhow, some people feel like they've been duped because it is Color Purple the musical. Now, the same people, stick with me here, the same people who are upset about this movie being a musical, an adaptation of the Broadway musical, are the same ones who are complaining about why are you making something over. Now, you find out that they didn't make it over. It's an adaptation, but you're mad because it's different from the original, but you were also upset because you felt like it was going to be a remake. I'm confused. What do you want? Do you want the remake or don't you? Anyway, let me tuck this hair back under this hat. So anyhow, you guys, I saw the movie, and again, I went in anticipating a musical, and that is exactly what I got. Now, let's talk about the movie. What did I like? The costuming was great. There were definitely some differences between this version and the original version. Chronologically, it was different. And comment below if you've seen the Broadway musical. I'm curious to know how accurate or how true to form the movie was to the Broadway play. I haven't seen the Broadway play, so I don't know. But anyhow, that's the comparison that I would like to know. So anyhow, chronologically, there were some differences in the story. But outside of that, it pretty much stuck to the original Color Purple script. So the young Miss Seeley did a great job. I will say for me, one of the biggest critiques that I have was that it took it a while to pull me in, to feel emotionally connected to these characters, right? I didn't necessarily feel the trauma that Seeley was suffering early on. It all happened so quickly. And I felt like the film, did a great job of making you feel empathy and compassion for these characters very quickly. Whereas the musical, which is a bit more lighthearted, didn't necessarily make me have that connection to the characters as quickly. Now, it did evolve as the movie went on, where I started to feel a sense of connection to the characters, but it wasn't instantaneous. Like when you see in the original movie, when you see the father come in there and take the baby away from Seeley, that moment when he rips the child from her hands is just, it's hard to watch, right? And in the movie, in the musical, it didn't convey the same level of emotions. So anyhow, but she did a great job outside of that. Halle Bailey was absolutely amazing. She's just so pretty to me. And she sings like an angel. So, anyhow, so let's talk more about the movie. So, as far as the movie goes, the performances in the movies go, I know a lot of people have been talking about Golden Globe buzz, Oscar buzz. To be completely honest with you guys, I didn't necessarily see any tour de force Oscar caliber performances from anyone, with the possibility of Danielle Brooks. Fantasia, I'll come back to that. So, with the exception of Danielle Brooks, Fantasia did a pretty good job, but I don't know. I didn't connect to it immediately, right? But she still did a pretty good job. I thought Taraji P. Henson, so Taraji, and not to talk Taraji as well, because Taraji did a great job in the movie as well as Suge Avery. But outside of that, I didn't necessarily see anything in terms of the performance that was Oscar caliber. Now, costuming, set design, all of those things, okay, yes, because the cinematography, the sets, the costumes, everything was absolutely amazing in that regard. So aesthetically, this is just a beautiful movie, or musical. It's absolutely beautiful. So I can definitely see Oscars in those particular categories, but the acting categories, I'm a little on the fence about that. So anyhow, one of my other critiques of the movie was Fantasia's vocals on I'm Here, which you guys know is like it's the pinnacle in terms of performances of that play. It felt really toned down. It felt like they dialed it back. It felt like they whitewashed it, to be completely honest with you, because I like when Fantasia just gets gritty and really digs into that song, and I didn't necessarily feel that from Fantasia's performance in this movie. Now, I will tell you, out of all the numbers in the movie, I was pleasantly surprised to see that the one that had me up on my feet was Taraji's Push the Button. Taraji murdered that number. Okay, Push the Button to me is by far and away the best number. It has some Bob Fosse-esque moments to it. There's a moment when the power goes out. If you haven't seen the movie, you should probably stop. But there's a moment when they're in the juke joint and the power goes out and it sort of turns into this Fosse-esque moment. And I just thought the choreography was great. The singing was great. Taraji murdered that number. I'm sorry, by far. And then there's also elements of it to me. And if you've seen the movie School Days, comment below and let me know. But to me, some of the numbers had a School Days feel to them. In particular, the number in Celie's pants shop or dress shop, whichever one it was. That felt very School Days. So there were a lot of moments. You guys remember, you know, the wannabe jigaboo number in School Days. A lot of the elements in that number sort of felt familiar to me. So in my opinion. So let me know what you think. But overall, if I were to have to give The Color Purple score of 0 to 10, I would say that The Color Purple is a strong 7.58. Okay, not blown away, but definitely not disappointed. Again, it's a musical, and I guess I went in wanting to feel that emotional connection, and this wasn't what this was. You know, this wasn't a Broadway drama. This was a Broadway musical, and musicals have a tendency to be lighter in their delivery than, say, a Broadway drama would be. And so for that reason, and again, I don't know if even that 8 or 7.5 is fair, because on a musical scale, it's a 10. Okay, I guess there's just still a sense of connection you feel to that original movie, The Color Purple, that makes you want to long for those same emotional triggers that you didn't get from this movie. So anyhow, comment below and let me know what you think. If you haven't seen The Color Purple, definitely run, do not walk. Just keep in mind that it's sort of a feel-good movie. It's not necessarily a Debbie Downer. This movie is really intended to inspire, to uplift, to motivate. It's about the spirit of resilience, you know, the spirit of triumph. So if that's what you're into and that's something that you want to see, definitely go check it out. But if you're looking for a tearjerker, something that's going to make you emotional, this is not the movie for you. It's actually, one thing I want to say before I leave. Comment below if you notice that they consciously made an effort to not continuously call Celie black and ugly, which was, a recurring theme in the original movie. But I love the fact that, they did acknowledge that she was supposed to not be beautiful, not be attractive, maybe once or twice. But in the other movie, there was a scene where, Suge Avery says, "You surely is ugly." And, we all know that line. But in this one, they just sort of had Taraji look up and just sort of grimace at her as if to make an inference that she was, not the prettiest. But the words never came out of her mouth. And I love the fact that they were conscious in this day and age, especially for Black and brown girls, that we want to uplift and support their beauty and the skin that they were born and celebrate that. And so it felt to me like the producers were really smart to not necessarily keep connecting black and ugly, which was another thing I loved about the movie. So again, if you haven't seen it, definitely run, do not walk, check out The Color Purple. Great movie. If you're judging it based on a musical, 10 out of 10. If you are judging it based on it being a comparison to the original Color Purple, 7.5 to 8 out of 10. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, and subscribe.